Assalamu alaikum, this is Dr. Hasana back with another video comparing two pathways because apparently you guys really liked the previous one a lot, which is Plab versus USMLE, the poor guy versus elite class. But today we're going to take elite class a little bit down and we're going to talk about AMC versus Plab. AMC is going to be today, guys, new character introduced into the story, which is going to be a middle class man, which is most of us, especially me. I don't know about you guys, but let's get right into it. I'm your official medical school bestie over here and I'm going to tell you the key differences between the two. I know it gets quite daunting and confusing that, there's Plab and AMC, like who pays more and, what do we end up as after we give their exams and job saturation situation. I know that all of these things make a person very curious, and which is why in my Instagram, you guys should definitely follow me, by the way. I've posted this Plab versus AMC differences and it kind of blew up. So I decided to do a video on it. Let's get started. Okay. Let's talk about the first differences, the country difference. Plab is basically a licensing exam. In case anyone over here is completely clueless as to what's going on, Plab is an exam that you give to work as a doctor in the United Kingdom, whereas AMC is a licensing exam that you give in order for you to be able to work in Australia. So the country difference is one of the most key difference that I believe is something that matters, that we should really think about, because honestly, people don't really take into consideration that if they even like the way that country is. Because honey, if you have a whole decision, you have this empty slate in front of you, like wherever you want to take your life, just take it. You should have that little decision. So in my case, it was definitely, I like small spaces and I like things that are close by, and that's why I chose the UK. Coming to Australia is a more sunny country, large and isolated, maybe more further from your Asian countries. So all of these things can be taken into consideration, which is why I always mention the difference of country being one of the factors. What is the Plab exam? It's Professional Linguistic Assessment Board. Two-part exam that helps you become or acquire a GMC license and become a junior doctor or an SHO equivalent doctor working in the UK hospital, which is the NHS. If you guys have heard that word NHS a lot, well, that's what it is. NHS is basically the whole company that runs the hospitals in the UK. Coming to Australian Medical Council exam, which is AMC, two-part exam. The first one is the MCQ exam and the second one is the clinical exam. I'll be very honest, similarity is there between the two exams. They're quite close to each other because they both are two-part exam. The first one consists of MCQs, whereas the second one consists of a more clinical or an OSCE-based setting where you actually interact with the patient. There's a timer going on and you're quite nervous and you have to diagnose the patient and then treat them. And that's how it works. Plab is, as I mentioned, there was a reason I called it the poor citizen, is because it is going to be less difficult. It's going to be easy. Obviously, becoming poor isn't that difficult, is it? Easy compared to the other exams. Comparison. All right, coming to AMC, it is clinically deeper and it is more detailed than the Plab exam. So naturally, that makes it a more difficult exam, but not too high up there like the USMLE was, rather just a little bit higher. That's why I call it the middle class citizen. The difference between the pricing of the two pathways. I am going to do a complete cost breakdown analysis of the two. All right, let's talk about Plab first. Plab 1 is a £273 exam as of in 2025. Keep that in mind. This is only going to get higher. I'm going to convert this in Pakistani rupees because obviously I'm from Pakistan, in case you guys didn't know. So I am going to be mentioning the PKR value. If you are watching from another country, you can feel free to convert it into your currency. All right, so this comes out to be up to 1 lakh. So it's like lesser than 1 lakh, but I say 1 lakh. I'm gonna give the maximum estimates because honey, most likely it's only gonna get higher than this, right? So up to 1 lakh Pakistani rupees is Plab part 1. Coming to Plab part 2, this is a up to £1,000 exam. All right, that comes out to be, if we calculate in Pakistani rupees, that's round about, you can say 3 lakh, almost 3 lakh plus, I would say, in Pakistani rupees. This entire pathway will cost you up to 4 lakh or 4.5 lakh in Pakistani rupees. Sum them in pounds, it's 1200 or let's call it 1300 pounds. So that's the Plab 2 cost, 4.5 lakh rupees. But then again, it's only a poor citizen. Okay, guys, coming to AMC exam. Part 1 of AMC is 3,500 Australian dollars. This comes out to be 6 lakh Pakistani rupees. But totaling both the fee and booking the exam, both comes out to be 3,500 Australian dollars, which equals 7 to 8 Pakistani rupees. It's 7 to 8 lakhs, by the way. In total, if we look at the price of AMC, is 6 to 7,000 Australian dollars, which is 14 lakh Pakistani rupees. Keeping in mind, guys, that still with both, these are just solely the prices of the exams themselves. Don't forget that the part 1s can take place in your own country, so that's okay. But part 2s of both the exams, you have to take abroad, right? So you have to go to their country. So for Plab 2, you have to go to the UK to give the exam. For AMC, you have to go to Australia to give the exam, right? So the travel expenses will be added to these. Okay, this is not a short final expense, only 4 lakh, no. One more exam should be added to the 2, which is the English language exam, either IELTS or OET. I've also compared IELTS versus OET. So go check that video out if you need the advice on which exam to choose. So you have to pass an English exam in order to be able to work in these countries. So you have to give that exam. And in both cases, you have to give it before your Plab 1 and AMC 1. I want you to know that both of these exams eventually will lead to SHO jobs, which are basically medical officer equivalent, which means you're just going to work there as a junior doctor in both cases, which was in contrast to USMLE. When you did that, you would become a resident, right? So keep that in mind, that these 2 jobs will only make you a junior doctor. Like, you'll just enter the system, you will be in a non-training job just as a junior doctor. All right, keep that in mind. So the 4th difference coming to that, the interesting part about AMC is that if you give AMC part 1, you can actually work after just the part 1. However, keep in mind that it is only going to be a remote job. Most likely you'll only get remote jobs after AMC part 1, which is also going to be difficult to get that job. And even if you get the job, it won't be like a proper job. It will be more like a supervision post. Whereas in Plab 1 and Plab 2, you have to give the entire exam, then acquire the GMC license, only then they'll give you the job. All right. If you give AMC part 2 and go there, still you won't get the full license until you spend about 12 months working in their country hospital. Only then they'll give you the full general registration. So this is also one of the difference. Let's call it the difference number 5, registration post exam. So where Plab, they directly give you the registration, they don't put you in too much of a hassle. AMC, in comparison, it will not give you full registration right when you've done both of the exams. It will ask you for 12 months experience, and then they'll be like, okay, fine, now you can have it. So it's like, honey, you can't just enter our country like that. You gotta give us some 12 months. In short, Australia doesn't trust you. They want to observe you. They want to know if in 12 months you're not gonna go crazy or you're not gonna become a criminal and all of that. It's coming to work-life balance. Very important difference, because where should I work? Like, which country should I choose where I can also have a good time and work? It shouldn't be a job dominating my entire life. So that's what we call a work-life balance. So in the case of Plab, or in the case of the UK pathway, there is a high workload and high pressure in the job, longer hours. Coming to AMC, there is a better lifestyle, a better work-life balance, which I think is very important. And the talk of the town nowadays is the competition, which is the saturation. How saturated are the 2 countries? The difference in the 2 countries, competition-wise, I'm sure many of you guys know, and if you don't, the UK is quite saturated. And this is 2025 that I'm saying this. We have no idea how much more saturated it can get in the coming years, right? Coming to AMC, it is less saturated. There are jobs available for IMGs. It's 2025 that I'm saying this. You never know what happens in the coming years. Because all of a sudden, I know this, guys, that everyone that was that was thinking about UK has completely diverted their mind because of the saturation. Who's to say what's going to happen in Australia in the next coming years? Let's hope for the best. All right, so I am only here to tell you about the current state. And finally, let's talk about the difference, which is the difference in the 2 salaries that you get. How does Australia pay you? How does UK pay you? UK pays you just enough, good enough to support you. However, it is, there's going to be a lot of taxes, right? That's going to be a problem. So you can say roundabout your pay is not that good after cutting down those taxes. Whereas Australia pays quite well. Rather, it is middle class citizen proof. There's a reason why I make these classifications, because anytime you are wondering what is the difference between the 2, like in terms of pay, in terms of how the exam is, how the situation is. This brings us to the end of our video. I just want you guys to know that at the end of the day, I am no one to tell you if Plab is better or AMC is better. Keeping those facts in mind, this is something that you need to decide. Why do I say one is not superior over the other? I cannot say that, because at the end of the day, it depends on your circumstances. And I've already posted a video on career choice counseling, how to choose a career according to your circumstances. I've already posted. You can go watch that. My point over here is that always look at how your situation plays. Are you able to finance yourself? If you're not able to, then you have to choose the less expensive route. You shouldn't be looking at other people, comparing your pathway to others, because see, everybody's road is different. Some people pause for 10 years. Some people do it and they become the biggest consultant in 10 years. So you don't compare yourself. You just sit down and look at your situation, cancel out all the noise that is going on here and there. I am your med school bestie, always here for you. So subscribe to my channel, and thank you for watching.